Could this be a bad year for Shonen Jump? 2024 was a great year with amazing new chapters from One Piece and Kagurabachi, but MHA and Jujutsu Kaisen both ended and their finales were less than amazing. In looking at the lineup right now, Shonen Jump is in a really weird state. It has a ton of good manga in Jump Plus, but as we saw not too long ago, those tend to be the more controversial series. As far as weekly Shonen Jump goes, it's kind of in a state of uncertainty. Besides One Piece and Kagurabachi, there's really no big manga. Naturally, a lot of manga fans are wondering what's next for Shonen Jump and what they can expect for the next year. That's why in this video, I'd like to examine Jump's current lineup of manga, discuss its upcoming anime projects, and explain why Jump could have one of its most exciting years in 2025. So right off the bat, if I say, oh, there's not that much in Shonen Jump, One Piece fans are gonna come out of the weeds and all say the same thing. And for good reason. We're only like, 10 or 20 chapters into Elbaf so far, and it's already building up to be the best post-time skip arc. We got the reunion of Robin and Saul, we got Loki and all the new giant characters, and we got that new Shanks reveal. Elbaf is already an exciting arc, and there's plenty of reason to believe it's only going to get better. And considering how good Egghead was, the potential for Elbaf is through the roof. So even ignoring everything else, Shonen Jump could have a great year just based off of One Piece. But obviously, One Piece isn't the only manga in Jump, and people read a lot more than just One Piece. Fortunately, Jump has a new headliner in the form of Kagurabachi. In my experience, a lot of the people who were reading Jujutsu Kaisen every week have more or less filled that gap with Kagurabachi, and it makes sense why. Chihiro is really becoming one of the best new protagonists in Shonen Jump. The fights just get better and better, and with panels like these, it's easy to see why people love the art in this manga. So with badass sword fights, cool magic abilities, and enough edge to cut through a steel door, Kagurabachi is gaining more and more fans every week, and it's only going to get better. Admittedly, it did take me a couple of tries to get the hype, but now I'm reading the manga every week. Now, I'm also reading most of the magazine, and if you ask me, those are really the only two big manga in Jump right now, especially since My Hero and Jujutsu Kaisen both ended last year, and as much as people will downplay it, that was a huge blow to Jump's regular traffic. First of all, as popular as One Piece is, Jujutsu Kaisen was just as popular. I mean, for years you couldn't go on Twitter without your feed being riddled with JJK spoilers on a weekly basis. Like, if you were a JJK fan, you either followed those spoilers, or you muted every word you could think of. It was so bad that once Kagurabachi caught on, the same scan sites tried to transition from Jujutsu Kaisen over to Kagurabachi. Luckily, everyone shut it down immediately, but the fact that you have that kind of demand for scans and spoilers just goes to show how popular Jujutsu Kaisen was. And then of course you have My Hero Academia. Say what you will about the ending, but that was one of Jump's biggest series. The anime has a ton of views on YouTube, and the manga is one of the most popular series Jump has ever come out with, selling a crazy amount of volumes and merchandise. Not to mention all of the movies. Fortunately, we still have the anime for these two series, but we'll get to that in just a minute. The point is that Jump went from having a handful of headliners to really only having two big series. And again, this is just weekly Shonen Jump. I don't mention Jump Plus because as popular as manga like Chainsaw Man and Dandadan are, and as many views as it gets online, there's hundreds of great manga like Marriage Toxin that casual fans have never even heard of. Plus, Chainsaw Man started in weekly Shonen Jump. Dandadan has always been fairly popular in the manga community, but it went under the radar for years and didn't get an anime until almost 200 chapters. So when you look at weekly Shonen Jump and and all you really have are One Piece and Kagurabachi, it does make you slightly worried, especially when more people are getting into manga from other magazines like Frieren and Gachi Akata. So the question is, what do manga fans have to look forward to in 2025? In my opinion, as far as their manga goes, 2025 is going to be a toss-up for Jump. Undead Unluck is ending, Sakamoto Days has a new anime, but there's no guarantee that it will draw in new fans. Mission Yozakura Family is also ending. Blue Box is garbage, and I will die on that hill. Elusive Samurai is pretty good, but I don't see it really turning heads after almost 200 chapters and one anime season. Akane Banashi is amazing. In fact, it's one of my favorite ongoing manga, but it's also a comedy series about Rakugo, so it's a pretty niche series. I've heard good things about Niue's Exorcist, but still need to check that one out. Witch Watch also has a new anime coming up, and I love that manga. But that's another comedy series, so I'm not sure how popular that will be. So really, that just leaves us with Himaten, Sidcraft, Shinobi Undercover, Hakutaku, Policeman Chojo, Kill Blue, Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi, Ichi the Witch, and Astro Royale. I didn't mention Roboco because obviously everyone already loves that series as much as I do. Now, as far as those first 6 manga go, I wouldn't count on them doing anything big in 2025. I'm not counting them out or anything like that, but I haven't seen anyone talking about them at all, so I'm not so sure they're gonna be popular by 2026. Now, as far as the last 3 manga go, I'm actually pretty hopeful. Astro Royale is written by the creator of Tokyo Revengers. It got a decent reception in the beginning, and while it's kind of been in the background ever since, I've really been enjoying the characters and the fights, and I'm excited to see where the story goes next. I also just started Kyoshi, which I can only describe as if One Piece and Jujutsu Kaisen joined together and dressed up like Tokyo Revengers, which is hilarious because I just said Astro Royale is a thing. I have a video I just did where I explain why it's one of my favorite new manga, but in short, I'm excited to see where it goes this year considering the creator Usui is a previous assistant to Oda. Finally, Ichi the Witch is still pretty new, but it's drawn by the artist for Act Age, which was a big manga in Shonen Jump before it got cancelled, and everyone has been begging for this artist to come back ever since. It's also written by the author of Iramakun, which is another massively popular manga with a great anime. So while it's only got a few volumes so far, it's got a ton of potential to be a new headliner alongside Kagurabachi. Plus, I've been reading it weekly for a while, and I love the main character and the unique fights in this fantasy series. Now, that being said, I don't think any of these series are really going to blow up in 2025. Astro Royale is like 40 chapters in and still hasn't really caught any buzz, so it's going to need a really big arc that gains a ton of attention before I can say anything else. Kyoshi is still pretty new, but it did just start what could be its first big arc. Until that's fleshed out a bit more, I can't really say anything on the future of that series as much as I want it to stay in Jump for the next 5 years or so. And as far as Ichi the Witch goes, as much as people love the artist and the writer, it's still too early. Red Hood was another popular fantasy series with great art that got cut insanely fast, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Ichi had a great start and it's really building up well, but it's only got like 20 chapters, so I don't see it really blowing up like Kagurabachi did by the end of this year. So as far as the magazine goes, Jump really is a toss-up. One Piece and Kagurabachi will be great this year. Those 3 new manga could do really well, but they could flop just as easily. And then there's the 6 or 7 other manga which are all pretty good and they're all in like the same spot, but probably won't do anything crazy this year. In other words, Weekly Shonen Jump only has like 2 big manga this year with the way things are going right now. Which might not sound so bad, but considering they just went from like 5 big series to 2, that's a big deal. The reason it's a big deal is because, again, casual manga fans don't really read Jump Plus. So if it's not a button or a page away from One Piece, odds are they're not gonna read it. Plus, like I said, there's a bunch of other big series like Gachi Akata and Frieren that are gaining more and more fans. So as far as their current lineup of manga goes, there's a lot of uncertainty for what this year is going to look like for Jump. That being said, we can't forget about all of the Jump anime this year. I already mentioned Sakamoto Days and Witch Watch. Those will definitely be worth checking out. Bleach has its final season this summer along with the return of Dandadan. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 was announced, and while it might not come out until 2026, there's a decent chance it could come out this fall. It was also announced that the Chainsaw Man movie will finally release this year. And considering how big the Jujutsu Kaisen movie was, as a big Chainsaw Man fan, I can tell you the Chainsaw Man movie will be a million times better. There's a bunch of other stuff like the return of Egghead and a bunch of other anime I'm probably forgetting about besides Dr. Stone, which I will be watching every week. Point is, there's plenty of Jump anime to be excited about this year. Plus, as much as I might have downplayed it, there's more and more manga being added to Jump Plus. So, while Weekly Shonen Jump may not have the strongest lineup, Jump Plus has a ton of great manga like Marriage Toxin, Magia Lumiere, and especially Dandadan. And even if the Weekly Shonen Jump lineup is questionable right now, you have to remember that it's gonna get a bunch of new batches of manga throughout the year. What those will be like, I have no idea. I do know that Gege and Horikoshi have both said they want to do new manga, so we do have that to look forward to. And while I don't know what the other new manga will be like, I do have high hopes. I'm sure nobody expected the authors of Tokyo Revengers and Iruma-kun to jump over to Jump, yet here we are. So as far as 2025 goes, I have high hopes. I think the winter will be kind of a dull season, and for the most part, the magazine will kind of be all about One Piece and Kagurabachi this year. But I have big expectations for Ichi the Witch. I expect it to become one of Jump's headliners next to Kagurabachi by early 2026, if not the end of this year. Kyoshi I kind of see becoming the next Black Clover in the sense that it will become somewhat popular, but won't quite compete with the other big manga. Astro Royale is kind of a toss-up, but it's still pretty good right now, so I wouldn't count it out just yet. And then of course there's all of the other great manga and anime I mentioned. So sure, 2025 is gonna be kind of a toss-up for manga and Weekly Shonen Jump. While it'll mostly be about One Piece and Kagurabachi, it does have a lot of potential to make 2025 one of its best years for new manga. But now I'd like to hear what you think. Which new manga are you looking forward to reading? What are your predictions for this year? Share your thoughts and see what everyone else has to say down in the comments. I'll pick my favorite and share as comment of the week on my community tab. And if you'd like to pick which anime I talk about next, then make sure to become a Shonen OG YouTube member. Channel members have access to exclusive offers like custom emojis, custom loyalty badges, and you'll get your name in the credits of each video. Also, make sure to check out my other manga discussion videos, which you can find in the playlist linked right here. Until then, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.